Hey everybody, welcome back to the video. Hopefully my audio sounds a little bit better now. And today we're going to be looking at people that can't afford rent and living above their means. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I just got the updated lease offer from my landlord and they want to charge me $200 more a month now. So $2,180. When I moved in, it was $1,695 4 years ago.
That looks pretty normal nowadays. Everyone's rents are going up, whether you live in Canada or in the States. It's quite a bit of money though. And into the comments here, we could see someone says, I'll bet absolutely no upgrades have been done either. Another comment, I moved in my apartment 5 years ago. The rent was $730. This year my new lease is $1205. Same old stove and fridge. It's ridiculous. $730. Wow. That was pretty cheap. Another comment says, my wife moved into this complex in 2020. It was a little over $1,000. Now it's $1,500 a month. No upgrades, nothing fixed. We can't afford to move, and this is around Dayton, Ohio. $1,000, $1,500 is not bad still. Where I live, it's about $1,600 for a one-bedroom basement. Not even your own apartment. You're living in like a basement of a house. Anyways, on to the next one.
Y'all want to know what's so crazy to me? The fact that for a one-bedroom, the cost of it in New Jersey is roughly $2,500. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. I remember rent for a one-bedroom was roughly like around $1,000. And that was only like 7 years ago. How did we get to the fact that a one-bedroom, the cost of the rent is roughly $2,500? This is crazy. So for those of you that have rent that's cheap, or you have some type of low income, affordable income, any type of housing, assisted subsidized housing, be thankful. Be thankful. And I am not knocking y'all. And to the people that is knocking y'all, they're mad.
That's pretty crazy, but I mean, it's been quite a few years there, and over the last couple of years, I think you guys had an influx of immigrants or people that came in illegally from South America, Mexico, and they went to New York, I believe. So you got an influx of population that kind of went that way, and then New Jersey is right there. So I could see the population wanting to go to a cheaper area. Eventually, kind of moves towards New Jersey. So that area gets flooded with more population. Rents are bound to go up. That's what usually happens. Anyways,
I am nearly 27 years old, and today I am moving back in with my parents. This is not the plan I had for 27-year-old me, but that is just how bad the rental crisis is at the moment. I've been living on my own for the last 3 years. When I first started living on my own, I was paying $280 a week in rent. It was actually kind of fine to pay rent on my own, and I've never had like an outstanding salary. The reason why I'm moving back in with my parents is because my landlord wanted to increase my rent now to $450 a week. Now, I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in an old building. It's nothing flash. Sure, I live in a good suburb. I live in Malvern. I'm probably just paying for location, but I have to pay to do my laundry. There's cracks in the walls. Like, it's nothing flashy. Like, it's not worth $450 a week. That's like $2,000 a month. What are people supposed to do? I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that I can move back in with my parents, but not everyone can do that. So what's your alternative? Like, you're homeless? The thing that really grinds my gears is that I am 99% sure that my landlord does not have a mortgage on this place, so that can't even be an excuse for landlords on here. She's owned this place since about 1980, and I know for a fact she has 2 investment properties. So she's just making money off what she can from the market. And I was like, there is no way I can afford this. And I have been an outstanding tenant, like outstanding. Rent's never been late. My inspections are always absolutely spotless. I've never caused any issues issues. And this is why my generation can't get ahead, why we can't buy houses. Like, I've been paying 20 grand a year in rent. But if I went to go get a house loan, they wouldn't see that as, oh, she can pay 20 grand a year. No, I have no savings because of how much I've been paying in rent and bills. That's why my parents were like, move home, you know, save that money and try and get ahead. I'm so grateful. I love my family, and I don't have any issues moving back home with them. I do have an issue with the fact that they live over the other side of Geelong and I'm still going to be traveling to Melbourne for work. So that's going to be so much fun. But what do people do? I'm so lucky I have such a great family that I can move back in with. But what's the alternative? Homelessness? Like, the government really needs to get on top of this, because honestly, the state of the rental market at the moment is absolutely fucked.
Damn, so that lady lives in Melbourne, and looks like it's pretty expensive to live there too. It seems like in Australia there's just a few main big cities, so everyone kind of gets cramped. I feel like in these big cities to live and have a decent job. So I could see how influx of rent prices and people coming to Australia to the main cities will affect the rent prices. So I mean, I wouldn't hate on the landlord. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know. So it is what it is. That kind of sucks, though.
My rent was $1,700 a month for a 1-bedroom. And then I got a notice that it was going up to $2,200. So I said, peace, see ya, I'm not doing this. And then I get a call that's like, oh, was that price the problem? Like, we can fix that. And I'm like, were you playing chicken with my rent? Why would you? Peace, done. My
Probably right. They probably are playing chicken with the rent. Probably trying to see as much money as they can get out of her, and didn't want to lose her because she was probably a decent tenant. So yeah, they probably were playing chicken with her rent. One of the comments here says, "I'm so sick of people saying to get a better job too. Nobody's wages are keeping up with this," which is true. I mean, not everyone can have like a 6-figure job. Uh, Not everyone can get a better and a better and more better job. Like, how high of an income should everyone have to just afford to live?
Woke up and I was like, man, why am I nervous? It's because I have to basically pay my entire month's paycheck to rent today. And I know what you might be thinking. It's not that bad. It's just a number on the screen. No, because I don't have enough numbers on the screen. Every month, it just feels like I work, and I can't afford to live. Or live, laugh, love, as some may say. Anyways, after I got ready today, I was like, you know what? Just get it over with. Like, the money is in my account. I had to transfer it over from my savings, which I really didn't want to do in order to pay my rent this month. Then on top of that, I have a car payment that I need to pay as well today. And for my financial stance, I just like to pay everything all in one day so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the month. It's a clear statement the first of the month. I pay my credit card, I pay my car, I pay my insurance, and I pay my rent all on the first of the month. I literally was having a panic attack this morning, and I just feel like I'm never doing enough, and I'm never enough, and I will never have a savings, and I'll never be able to buy a house. And I was just going down the rabbit hole this morning. Then, to make matters worse, I go to have some grapes this morning, and then I open up my Sam's Club grapes, and why are they all freaking expired? Literally bought them 2 days ago, and then I was like, what can make me feel better? And I always know that putting on any colored Hokas will make me feel better. I put on my orange Cliftons this morning, and I just said, let's get on with the day.
Pretty rough. I mean, at least she tries to have her stuff in order here, try to get everything paid off as soon as possible, so she's stress-free somewhat for the rest of the month. One of the comments here says $2,700 and then have to pay $10 to pay on the app. You have to pay $10 to pay on an app to pay your rent. What the hell? Another comment says, I feel like everyone in their 20s is experiencing this. No, people in the 30s and 40s and 50s are definitely experiencing this right now too. This is not normal. It's definitely not how it used to be.
Millennials and Gen Zers who are complaining that they can't buy a house are not working for minimum wage. These are people making $60, $70, $80, $90,000 a year who can no longer afford a house. But minimum wage workers are also complaining because they can't afford rent. If you look back to 1980, the rent was $243. Minimum wage was $3.10, meaning your monthly gross was $496. So to rent this apartment, it would be 48.9% of your gross income back in 1980. But let's fast forward to 2024. The average rent is $17.47. The federal minimum wage is $7.25, giving you $11.60. You can't even get an apartment with the federal minimum wage. But let's be generous and double the federal minimum wage, because people at Walmart and fast food joints are making $14.50 to $15. So $14.50 would bring you to $23.20. So technically you're making more, but this is your gross, and it'd be 75% of your gross income, making double the federal minimum wage in 2024. But let's take it even a step further. ZipRecruiter said that the starting pay for college graduates is $24 an hour. So that would be $38.40 a month. So someone with a bachelor's degree could afford this one-bedroom apartment, but it would be 45.4% of their gross income. A college graduate is spending the same amount of their income on rent as the minimum wage worker in 1980 did. Roughly the same. And the minimum wage worker in 1980 put on a hat, learned skills for 2 weeks, and started their job. A bachelor's degree spent 4, 5, 6 years of their life in school and $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, and now have to spend the same amount of money on rent as a minimum wage worker did in 1980.
He's right. That pretty much sums everything up right there. This is why everyone is having these issues, and they just can't figure out what's going on. Why can't they afford to live? Like, why is it so expensive? This is why you're not getting paid as much. Your money doesn't get further like it used to. Like, inflation is a bitch. I remember hearing someone talking at a job I worked at and making $35 an hour at the time, and to be equivalent to what it used to be back in the 1980s, people were able to afford houses and RVs and cars and live on a single income off the same job. And to have the equivalent amount of buying power, our pay should have been about $65 to $70 an hour, the same job, to have equal amount of buying power, like how the people in 1980s and 70s or something like that had. Pretty crazy. Anyways, on to the next one.
Last days within this unit that I've been renting for so long. Really sad that I have to leave because they decided to raise my rent $700, and I already pay $2,300 without parking fees, which is $185, and plus utilities. So I'm paying $2,600 a month, and they still decided to raise my rent for another $700. So they want me to pay now $3,000 base rent. Are you kidding me? I'm trying to.
That's crazy. Just up and raising someone's rent about $700. That's wow. Let's look at the comments here. Someone says $2,300 is already so much. Holy shit. Another comment says almost 30% rent increase is criminal activity. I agree. Rent increases should be no more than 5% annually throughout the U.S. Yeah, we have something like that here in Canada where you're only legally allowed to increase the rent a certain percentage, like a couple percentage a year. So it turns out to be like only like $50 or $60 a month extra, something like that. Yeah, I'm surprised you guys don't have that in all your states there.
Because I told myself I would never cry on the internet because I think that's so lame. But I just got our rent renewal thing for our apartment complex, and it's going up by $300 a month. $300 for a one-bedroom apartment that is not updated in any sort of way. And our complex doesn't even have like nice amenities. Like we have a tiny pool and a tennis court. Like this is not a luxury apartment complex. We already pay with all the fees and everything included $2,000 a month, and now we're going to be paying $2,300 a month for this tiny apartment. And that's just so frustrating. I don't understand how people can live in this world anymore. And I just don't want to move again because that's so much work and more money, and it's stressful trying to find another place, and it's just so annoying. And now I feel like I need to get a new job, and I just got this job and I like it, but it's not paying me nearly what I need. And so now I'm gonna have to go through applying to jobs again, which I did for like a whole year plus until I found this job. So I'm gonna have to go through all of that again. It's just not fair.
And I believe this lady lives in Connecticut. Expensive all over the place in the States there. 2,300 for one bedroom is insane. Definitely. It should be illegal for rent to go up that much at one time. I agree. Another comment says the cost of living is ridiculous right now. Hell yeah. On to the next. Spent $250 on 5 things. Yeah. You try to do stuff yourself and not spend money on getting your nails done at a shop. So you try to buy everything you need to save money, but you end up paying quite a bit of money anyways. Welcome to 2026.
So I just wanted to get on here and rant just a little bit because I am just pissed, frankly, at how America's cost of living, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But I am 21 years old. I work a full-time job, and a part-time job. I make $20 an hour at one of my jobs, which I think is pretty decent. And then it's like $16 an hour at my other job. I work 40 hours at my full-time job and then 6 hours shift every week at my part-time job. So I'm working 46 hours a week. And I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. And if it would just had to do with like my rent, my groceries, my gas, my bills, stuff like that, I would be fine. I would still be able to go out and like have fun and do the things that like a normal 21-year-old should be able to do. But now we have to keep in mind tuition because I want to get a degree because I want to be able to have a career and make a living that can actually suffice, like a lifestyle, like a normal lifestyle. Like I'm not asking to be like bougie and stuff, but I would like to not be living paycheck to paycheck for the rest of my life. But tuition, I have financial aid, but it only covers a portion of what tuition actually costs. So every semester I'm still dropping like $1,500. And that doesn't even include what the professors charge to even take their class. Like, why does a professor think it's okay after we've spent all this money on tuition to go to this university to charge for their class? Like, I have 3 different professors this semester. And mind you, this is just this semester. This happens every semester. And I think this is like my 3rd or my 4th year. I don't even know at this point. But this semester, one of my teachers is charging like $70, $80 for one of the textbooks with online access. Another one's doing like $80, $90 or something like that. And one of them is $170. Like it is truly mind-boggling how they think that we can afford this. Like I just truly cannot comprehend. Like I don't understand how, I just don't understand. Like I'm just super stressed out right
Kudos for her to be working that much and going to school. I couldn't do that. A lot of people that can't do that. So she's smart, strong, and I think she'll get through this. Uh, she's making okay money for a student, and I feel like whatever degree she's getting, hopefully it's a useful one that will be worth it for the amount of time she's spending and paying for its schooling. And hopefully she can get a better paying job, and hopefully she can be able to save some money finally. But there's people like her out there that are doing this, struggling for a degree that is pretty much useless. So I know a person that did a physiotherapy assistant course in a private college, so they charge a little extra money. And turns out the job market for a physiotherapy assistant out there is not that great. And you will be getting borderline minimum wage for a course that you paid like 20 to 30 grand for and wasted a few years getting the diploma. So there is diplomas and degrees out there that are completely useless. So when you do go to school and waste that money, make sure it's not a waste and make sure you have a plan what type of job this degree will get you and that there's actually a demand for the job. So all this suffering is worth it.
Don't forget, I'm also just a girl. Don't forget.
That's like everybody. I feel like everyone does that, gets their morning coffee and goes to work or something. And we complain about it. I try to make my coffee at home before I go to work, but I'm guilty as well. I do the same thing.
What's cracking? I have negative $247 in my bank account. I'm going on vacation and I'm running errands right now, but I won't allow the negative to stop me. I'm still gonna go fix my nails, drop off my dry cleaning. I have to pick up my passport for my ex, so all of that needs to be done before 12. It's 9:44. Will I get it done? Of course, I picked myself up a coffee because when you're running late, it's mandatory that you also get a coffee. Duh.
And that's exactly what you shouldn't be doing. You got negative money in your bank account and you're going on a trip, running around buying coffees, and yeah. The contrast between the lady that's going to school and working 48 hours a week and this chick, both probably have no money in their accounts, but this chick is planning on going on vacation for some reason when you have no money. Uh, I'm not sure where her priorities are, but I guess live your life.
Okay, tell me why this bell pepper is $5 a pound. 5. It's a pepper. It doesn't drive itself home. Bread, $6.50. Eggs, $7. I'm about to need a loan for breakfast. This is my cart so far. That's $60 of vibes. Anyway.
Shit's expensive, man. $5 for a pound of bell peppers? I mean, that looks like a deal. I think that'd be quite expensive here in Canada, to be honest. $5 looks like a deal to me.
I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make $20-some an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
Is that the American dream or American nightmare? I feel like the American dream and the Canadian dream of growing up, having your own house, having your own big family is kind of dead. And this is the new norm. You're just kind of living. And I feel like we're slowly deteriorating into nothingness and homelessness. Like we're on the verge of homelessness. Like you got There's the middle class is definitely disappearing. I mean, it sucks. It's eye opening.
I feel like a lot of people live above their means and do not even know it. Like you feel like it's a requirement for you to get your nails done, even though you don't have a car. You mean to tell me you couldn't take 2 seconds to learn to do your own hair? You didn't have enough time to learn to do your own hair, but you have enough time to go out to eat? The problem is you're living above your means and you don't even know it because you're so used to seeing everybody around you live above their means. You will be better off doing that, such as I do, money or not, and making that turkey sandwich, regardless. If your coworkers go out to eat and they ask you to go out to eat, you can pack your turkey sandwich with you and eat before you go. You and your friend can hang out and have a good time without having to spend money. And this is the most uncomfortable truth that you have to sit in. You know you don't have the money to do it, but for some reason you still do it. Because you've seen your mom live above her means, she saw her mama live above her means, and so on and so forth. And for the people that don't know what to live above their means mean, it means spending less than what you make. Way less. The problem is you get a raise and you spend more money. That money can go towards debt, your savings, or anything else. But society says, girl, it's time to get a new car. Girl, it's time to get some new hair, new shoes, new this, new that. You didn't need any of that. You was perfectly fine before, if you really want to be honest. All I'm saying is do better. Look at your account. When you get a new raise, you get some new money, put it towards something that you need to put it towards. Stop going out to eat. The food ain't even that good anyway.
Got a good point. If you're disciplined enough and you cut out all that extra bullshit, you could be able to afford and hopefully save some money throughout the year. It's hard, it's tough, but she just stated a lot of things that people are doing that you shouldn't be doing. You could save that little extra money, it all adds up. And get yourself out of debt, because if you're in debt, that's like a black hole that just takes you in and it's hard to get back out of that hole. Trust me, I know.
Unfortunately, the social media business has not been paying well lately, at least for me. But luckily, I have a full-time job. I work weekend overnights in a call center, and since I need money, I'm gonna start working overtime at my actual job. You see, my problem is I really like to go places. We're leaving for Costa Rica soon, and we're going to Disney 2 months after that. And to be transparent, I don't have either trip paid off. And look how messy my basement is. Should be cleaning that, but I need to work because I need money. One thing about me is I'm kind of a miracle worker when it comes to finances. Literally, I don't even know how we afford the things we do. I know we're gonna get these trips paid for one way or another, even if that means me working tons of hours, because I just feel like I only have one life to live and my kids are only going to have one childhood. So I'm going to do absolutely anything in my power to give them the best life. I will always be able to make more money, and I'm not afraid to get myself into a little bit of debt every now and then. If you made it this far, give me a YOLO in the comments.
I mean, her approach is, I guess, a little bit better than other people's. She's working harder and longer hours to afford these trips eventually, and she's working towards paying off debt. She's working towards to be able to go on these trips. Some people don't do anything. They don't work harder. They just go on the trips. They just buy that purse or they buy that extra toy or whatever the hell they're getting. And they don't work more. They don't work harder. They don't try to make more money. And this lady's just trying to make better life memories with her family. And I support that. And so this is kind of like that silver lining, you know, if you want to go on those trips, you got to work harder. You got to pay that trip off. You got to save some money to the side for that trip that you got coming up. So you just put in the extra time to go on that trip if that's your priority. Other people's priorities should be paying off debt or something, but I mean, if you want to go on that trip, that's the way you should do it at least.
It is incredibly frustrating that the bar just keeps getting lower and lower, but yet they still expect us to bring shovels somehow and lower it even farther. Because I remember a day when spending above your means meant that you were going out too much, you were going out to eat too much, you were going to clubs, you were going to shows, you were going on vacation maybe one too many times a year, you might have had an extra vehicle that you probably didn't need. That was living above your means, having a nicer apartment in the city when you don't make that type of money. That was living above your means. Now, the idea of living above your means is that you buy fresh fruit instead of canned. You're right. That is insane. And we keep lowering the bar. Like now it's if you don't do absolutely everything to live the absolute cheapest you can possibly live, well, then that's your fault. It's not society. It's why are you not reusing your napkins? Like you could get a couple more uses out of that. You're just being lazy. You don't buy generic food? Okay, big spender. Like that is our new standard. Money saving hacks don't really work anymore because we're not spending like that. Like it used to be, oh, well, cancel all your subscriptions. You think I could afford $30 Netflix? What? I steal it from my father-in-law. No, scratch that. Living above your means used to mean that you thought you literally lived in a different class, not that you thought you deserved to eat more than 2 things a day. Living above your means used to mean that you just did not want a roommate even though you really needed one. Now, living above your means is you actually thought you could move out of your parents' house? Girl, why? Society has shifted our idea of living above our means so much over the past few years, like even the past couple of decades, that it went from having extra cars to, why do you even have a car at all? You only drive 5 times a week. You can't just figure it out and walk. It's basically if you're paying all of your bills, why, girl? You're spending too much money this month. Like, I'm not living above my means. Insurance is just expensive. Everything is just expensive. Life is above my means now. Like, literally, life is above our means. It is.
And that about sums it up for this video. Life is above our means nowadays. And that's the world we live in here in North America. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll have another video out for you shortly, hopefully. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.